I'm Joan Landis, and I'm really happy to be with you again. Today we are talking about a concept called strength-based motivation. What is strength-based motivation? Well, it's the opposite of fault-finding. Okay? Some people feel like the most effective way to motivate others are to criticize, to find fault, and be on a search and destroy mission. Okay, while that sometimes can be helpful, I have found that generally it puts people on the defensive. And defensive people are not really great to work with. I don't care if it's kids, spouse, coworkers, right? So unfortunately, most of us have this nasty little habit of pointing out flaws and faults and then saying, can you please fix that? Okay. Strength-based motivation is just about exactly the opposite. What we do with strength-based motivation is we find something that the person is already doing well, okay? And then we build on that. So a lot of times if we do fault finding and we say, you know, you're just late all the time. I don't know why you're late, but you've got to stop being late to work. Then people will often push back. They'll deny it. They'll counterattack you. Well, you're not always on time, that type of thing. And what happens is that oftentimes in that being defensive, you simply cannot get them to want to change. Or what sometimes happens is they will deny that they even can. They'll go, you know what? It's impossible. With the traffic, there's just no way I can get here on time. Forget it, right? So the genius of strength-based motivation is that you basically catch them already doing a good job at something, and then they can't deny that they can do it because they're already doing it. Okay, so here's how it can look. So say you have a coworker that's always late, coming back from lunch, all right? And so, an employee. So a fault-finding boss would say, you know what, I've counted and you have been late back from lunch, the last 9 out of 10 days, and you have got to fix that. Okay, so you can imagine what the employee is going to feel like, right? Defensive, criticized. If they don't say anything back, they're just going to smolder, in their cubicle. And so there's some definite downsides to that, the fault-finding type of, the criticism type of motivation. So someone who does strength-based motivation, an employer might say something like this. You know, Jay, I notice that you are on time to work every single morning. And that's such a great thing for our company. That's such a great example. I know I can depend on you to be here every morning. If not on time, then actually a little bit early. And I really appreciate that promptness in you. That's such an asset. Okay, so what you've done is pointed out a strength that they're already showing in the topic that you're going to visit with them about. And then you say to them, you know, Jay, if you could just take that ability to be on time before work and let that apply after lunch, if you could be on time after lunch like you are before work, that would really help our whole office. It just would really be great. And I really think you can do it because you're already doing it in the morning. And it's even harder in the morning. And I just really think it's, I have a lot of faith in you that you can do this. And so can we work towards that and just see if things aren't a little better, right? And so that is what we call strength-based motivation. The cool thing about it is that people generally don't get defensive about it. And if they try to defend themselves and deny that they can do it, oh no, I can't ever do that. You're like, you're already doing it. It's too late. I know you can do it because you're already doing it in some fashion, right? And so that's a really cool way to relate to people. Now, does that mean that you never point out their faults or flaws? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that probably you ought to do strength-based motivation probably 60-70% of the time. And then maybe the other type of, pointing out flaws, maybe 30% of the time. But the preponderance should be strength-based motivation, where you are building on the strengths they already have. That gives them more confidence, more hope, more positive approach. And it's really cool. It really works with people. So one of my favorite little anecdotes is, you say you go into your son's bedroom, okay? Say he's like 14 or so. You look at his bedroom and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is a pigsty. There's dirty clothes here, trash, old food. Oh, it's a disaster. You're saying all these negative things to yourself, right? Now, the fault-finding parent of yesteryear would have said, it's like, Josh, get in here. And so he gets in there and you're like, look at this room. Look at those clothes. You know how much we paid for that? Look at this trash. It's like a pigsty. Look at the old food. You're going to have bugs in here. I can't believe you do that. You've got to be better than that. Now get that thing cleaned up, and when you get it done, you let me know, and then you'll have dinner, right? That's kind of where some of us would go with that, right? Okay, what does strength-based motivation do? Strength-based motivation says, hey, Josh, can you get in here? Now, if he slinks in like that, then honestly, what I'm going to tell you is you need to work on your relationship with him. He doesn't trust you. He thinks he's going to get reamed, all right? And so if he sulks in whenever you call him, then you know what? Forget the darn room. Go shoot some baskets with your son. Go spend some time talking to him, okay? But if he comes in and he's like, yeah, Mom, you go, Josh, I'm looking at your room here. You're looking at the ground, right? You're looking at your room here. And I'm looking around and I'm like, Josh, your ceiling is really clean. Look at that. There's no dirty clothes. There's no trash. There's no food up there. It doesn't even need to be vacuumed. That is a dang nice ceiling. Good job. And by then he's laughing, right? And you say, so Josh, how about we get the bottom of your bedroom to look as good as that top of your bedroom. Let's get the bottom of your bedroom to look as good as you are. Because you know what? You are a quality individual, and this room doesn't represent you very well, And so then the next step that I really like to do is try to make the consequence really relational. And so what that means is fix it together, right? Don't just make him do it by himself. So you say something funny like, okay, Josh, I'll tell you what. You be the boss, I'll be the employee, or you be the master, I'll be the slave, whatever. And you tell me what to do, and I'm going to be your biggest helper. And we'll get this all, picked up and vacuumed and dusted. So what do you say? And usually they'll kind of say, okay, right, let's work together. That's fine. So that's strength-based motivation. And you can see that there's no shame. There's no guilt. There's no, putting people in the doghouse, right? And it's a beautiful skill to have. It's one of the most important resilient skills for not just yourself, but your family. Because you need to be able to use this on yourself, right? Be able to say, okay, so maybe I kind of failed at this, but what were my strengths, right? That's a very important part of self-validation. So just be aware of the possibilities with this. And I would love for you to experiment this week a couple of times. And when you had the urge to criticize and fault find, take some deep breaths, look at it and say, okay, what are those people or myself? What actually did we do well? What did we do well? And then work from there. Try to build on those strengths to encourage the new behavior or the new skill development. Okay? So have fun with that. Write about it in the forums, what you tried to do, how well it worked, and if it didn't work, we'd love to hear from you. So, all right, we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.